Thanks very much for joining us. Well, in addition to being proven once again to be the city of sports champions, eat your hearts out, Philadelphians. Boston has also benefited from political leadership at the local level that's committed to making the city work, with results over the years that are the envy of many other cities, but that doesn't mean everything's coming up roses. Here to talk about the good and bad news in the city is District 2 Boston City Councilor Ed Flynn, former council president. Councilor, it's good to see you.
John, it's good to be with you.
Thank you for coming by. I want to send a shout out to your father, the former mayor, Ray Flynn, former All-American basketball star at Providence College. He was a Celtics ball boy and briefly a Celtic himself during the 1964 preseason. How did he like this most recent title?
He loved it. He loves watching the Celtics. He actually likes watching the women's college basketball as well. But he's a big Celtics fan. And it's great for the city. It's great for the team. It brings out the best in people, so he was excited about it.
Well, shout out to him and,
Thank you.
and your mom, Kathy, as well.
Thank you, John.
So here in the city of Boston, we have, I believe, the lowest murder rate of any comparably sized city, or among the lowest. The situation at Mass and Cass was broken up and people dispersed. So give me your assessment. Are we safer today than, say, 2021 when Mayor Wu took office?
Last night, John, I was doing a walkthrough with residents of the Leather District, which I represent, in Chinatown. And what we were talking about is quality of life issues, public safety concerns. I also represent the area near Mass and Cass as well, the South End, Andrew Square. Chinatown, obviously, but the public safety and the quality of life issues are significant. They are increasing. So residents don't feel like that situation is solved. In fact, they think there's more public safety issues and crime in and around those neighborhoods, in Roxbury as well. And we need to refocus on those issues, ensure we have enough police in that area, but also dealing with quality of life issues such as neighborhood services are critical for residents.
Well, these issues aren't new. What are we doing wrong? Why aren't we experiencing progress?
I think we can't allow people to openly sell drugs in the city and use drugs in the city. That is a terrible message that hurts residents, that hurts neighbors. What residents want from us is positive leadership. We can no longer turn a blind eye to someone selling drugs or using drugs. Someone using drugs, they need to be in a drug treatment program. Someone that's selling drugs, they need to be in jail through the criminal justice system.
Well, now, are you talking then about a failure of the courts, of the DA's office, of the police, of City Hall, all of the above?
I think what it's going to take is all of us working together. We met last night on a Zoom meeting with the South End residents talking about this very issue. But it's about city officials, state officials, with the district attorney and the court system, and residents, public health officials, working together. But we can't allow residents to use drugs openly and people to sell drugs throughout the city.
And that's what's going on.
That's what's going on. I've said that to the police. The police know it. And I'm advocating for more police presence in Boston's neighborhoods, even as we are experiencing potential cuts to the police department.
We've got to take a break, but do you feel the police's hands are tied?
At times, yes, I do.
By?
I think by society, by elected officials, by public opinion, and elected officials don't support police like they should. We don't treat them with respect. We don't treat their families with respect. And now it's having an impact on quality of life issues throughout the city of Boston.
All right, let's take that break, and we'll continue our conversation about what's going on in Boston with Boston City Councilor Ed Flynn. So please stay with us. Welcome back to our conversation with Boston City Councilor Ed Flynn. Councillor, the voters a couple of years ago approved participatory budgeting for the city of Boston. That's a process of community engagement that kicks in next month. And several $1 million have been budgeted to fund this. You have some concerns about this. Why?
Yes, I have significant concerns, although you're correct. The residents did vote for this. I don't support it. I don't support giving 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds the ability to have an impact and to vote on where the city is sending our money, spending our money in the budget. I think it's inappropriate. I think our residents work hard, taxpayers work hard. We should not be allowing young children to vote on it. We have serious concerns in this city in neighborhood services such as a lack of police, a lack of public works. We need more public works services. But giving children the opportunity to vote on it, it doesn't make financial sense, and it's bad for the city.
I think we need to explain to our viewers here what you mean by 10 or 11-year-olds voting on it. In this participatory budgeting, the residents come up with ideas. They vote on them, right? And kids can vote.
Kids can vote. They can vote on their computer, or they can vote at the public library.
And then the city's required to include the top priorities in the budget?
The top 5 priorities would get funded, regardless of what they are. And I just don't think it's time to experiment like that during difficult financial times or challenging times. Let's be fiscally conservative with taxpayer money, and we can't waste taxpayer money on social experiments, John. I just think the taxpayers and the residents deserve better from us.
What can you do about this briefly? Isn't this an ordinance now that we have to have this? So you'd have to repeal it, right?
Well, I asked my colleagues in government to reduce the budget of the office, maybe down to $100,000 or $200,000, but to allow $3 million of taxpayer money to be spent in this way, it's inappropriate.
Councillor, you recently said of the Boston schools, quote, "We do have a struggling system that doesn't work," end quote. Well, you're about to pass a new budget for the schools that will take the per pupil spending over the $30,000 per student mark. Why isn't that enough to make education work for these kids and their families?
We have so many problems with the school system. I think we have a good superintendent that's been there for a period of time, Mary Skipper, who I have faith and confidence in. I do think we need to give her another year, another opportunity to make progress. I am concerned. I met with her yesterday, and I expressed to her I am concerned about public safety in our schools. I also am concerned about the lack of academic progress in many of our schools, the high absentee rate in most of our schools, and the lack of sports and after-school activities in transportation. We have significant challenges. We were almost taken over by state receivership. We still have a lot of work to do, but we do have a struggling system, and it's about working together in making difficult decisions going forward that might not be popular or politically correct, but they need to be made.
Councilor, we're just about out of time here, but I got to ask you, you've said you're not running for mayor next year when Mayor Wu seeks re-election, correct?
I haven't focused on it. I've focused on my job as a city councilor.
So that's not a flat no, then?
That's correct.
Okay.
I'm spending my time working to try to put Boston so we can address these quality of life issues, neighborhood concerns, and I'm going to spend the whole summer working on that, providing the best positive leadership I can to the city, to my constituents. There's always time for politics. I love this city, but that's not something I'm actively considering right now.
Councilor, thanks.
Thank you, John. It's good to be with you.
Good to see you.